Have you been talking much to your plants recently? I think that's one of the reasons for this plant's good growth that I've just had fewer people to talk to over the last year. Maybe that's been your experience as well. And the reason I'm thinking about that is because this week is Loneliness Awareness Week. And maybe over the last year you've become more aware of what loneliness feels like, as we've had these long periods of isolation and so many of our relationships have been quite superficial or screen based. And so I'm thankful for this Awareness Week that gives us an opportunity to talk to each other about our experiences and to remind each other that we're not alone. And I'm also thankful as a Christian that this week I can remember that Jesus gives us an eternal answer to loneliness. There's a description of God in the Old Testament which says this: a father to the fatherless, a defender of widows, is God in his holy dwelling. God sets the lonely in families. It's a statement that reminds us that God didn't create us to be lonely. God created us to have rich relationships with each other and with Him. The problem is that all of those relationships have been damaged by our sin, by our failure to live as God created us. And if we stay stuck in our sin, then we're heading to a very lonely eternity away from God and away from any experience of love. But the great news of the Bible is that God hasn't left us alone in our sin. That God sent his son Jesus into this world to lift us up into his eternal family. Jesus, who died on the cross to take away our sin, then rose again to give us new life in a family of people who trust him. Now, that doesn't mean as a Christian that I never feel lonely. I do. But it does mean that in those times of loneliness, I can know that I'm secure in God's unchanging love. I'm safe in his eternal family. And those relationships that I enjoy now in the church with brothers and sisters in Jesus will only get richer on the day when Jesus comes back to gather all of his family together. So this Loneliness Awareness Week, if you're struggling, please remember that you're not alone. You can reach out to us if you want someone to chat to, and please remember that God cares about your loneliness too.